1, 0, booster ignition, and liftoff of Shuttle Endeavour. NASA's
Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look, and you'll slip into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in a world of my creation. We'll see, we'll defy explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to, do it. Want to change the world, there's nothing to it. No life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be.
You can't die. You're not even in here, you know? And basically, we are our energy fields playing through a virtual reality system. And just so it doesn't confuse too many people, because in my own scientific mind, I said, oh my God, I'm not even in here, which immediately says you can't die, because it's like a television set recording of a show. You can watch a TV and the show is going, TV breaks, oh, TV's dead, but the broadcast is still there. Same thing with the cells in our body. Our cells are receiving an identity through these antennas that's from the field. Point is, the cells could die, but the broadcast is still there. And once I started doing that, oh my gosh, you know, this whole understanding about how, you know, we have a spiritual entity. I don't want to say spiritual for some people because that's religious. It's not religious to me, spiritual. I'll use physics, same word, field. Why? Field, invisible moving forces that influence the physical world. Spirit, invisible moving forces that influence the physical world. You want to say field, you want to say spirit? I don't care which one. Field's more science, spirit, whatever. What's the point? And the point was simply this. As a scientist, I said, well, wait a minute. If I have a spirit, and that's the immortal broadcast, then why do I have a body? And that's when I found I had very funny cells, because I asked the question, why have a spirit and a body? Why not just be a spirit? And the body gave me an answer, which I just really want to say because it blew my mind. And the answer was, I said, why have both? And the cells answered with a question. They said, Bruce, if you're just a spirit, what does chocolate taste like? And if you stop and realize, you say, oh my God, this is a virtual reality machine. We come in here and we can taste and smell and see and feel love and all that. And all of a sudden, that changed my whole meaning of why we are here on this planet. We came here to create. And the idea is, I look around and go, well, we're not doing a great job at this creation. But then I realize this, we've also been programmed. The movie The Matrix, as we talked about, is a documentary. Everybody's programmed. And if we get out of the program, which is the work that you talk about and the work that I talk about, if you get out of the program, then you become a free creator. If you're in the program, you're going to create whatever the program is. And we have been misprogrammed. And that has caused the problem on this planet. And to get out is to listen to the science that you talk about, the science that I talk about, and say, it's our choice to change consciousness, because that, even according to quantum physics, is what's creating this whole thing. You can't die. You're not even in here, you know? And basically, we are our energy fields playing through a virtual reality.
Grand Day, Woden's Day. Halfway of the week point. Thanks for joining me here on another FMX radio show. afternoon edition, your Melodome After Hours, big positive show. Hope my whole chat's doing excellent today, as usual. We had a fire show yesterday over on the Melodome, so make sure you check that out. Talking about, the fakeness of NASA and all that fun stuff. So shout out to all the chat on the YouTube, the Twitch, and the Rockfin, of course. Hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Shout out Stephanie, Saddlebum, No Longer on the Ball, Valley Parks, Lord Racer, Skydome, Anson, Jeremy, Question the Answers, Tapered Bodies, all lovely, beautiful, immortal souls. And that's what we're gonna kind of dabble in today. Expand one of our greatest tools gifted to us by the Grand Creator, the ability to imagine, to stretch those mind muscles out, to potentially attract bigger and better and new thoughts, forms of thought, at least to us. Because I firmly believe there's nothing new under the sun. But that doesn't mean there's nothing new for you as an individual to discover, to strengthen your own intellectual toolbox. That way you can experience a wider band of things and possibilities. And you can't do that without expanding your imagination. And that's one of the challenges we have, as well as an opportunity, is to do these practices and these chats, these weekly bantering back and forth and whatnot. I hope my buddy Austin, or maybe even Harmon, can show up, because they have some good input on this as well. And I want to take things more on a positive note and, tie it to the things that we're already familiar with: frequencies, the scientific method, consciousness, and more importantly, our individual self-willful choice to make the decisions to attract the new to us anyway, new possibilities. If there's things beyond our known landscapes and whatnot, but more importantly, what's beyond our known day-to-day experience. Because you can think about wondrous things all day long, but without any type of actual interactivity influence of you getting out, going to do something. You only have other people's words to go off of. You know what I mean? So take everything that we talk about today with a grain of salt. I don't know. I'm just one who believes that, if God's infinite, which more than likely is, and we're part of this infinite creation, well, then there's probably more infinite in us than we can possibly imagine. And again, that's where imagination comes in, to really strengthen those muscles, because everything that we became comfortable with today was somebody's imagination at one point, period. Across the board, from the smallest minute technical hardware devices, technology and whatnot, to cars and planes, to the big boy stuff, to wireless communication and wireless power, transmitting energy wirelessly, not just telecommunications, but high voltage. And if we can do those things on the lower scale, then something tells me we can do it on a higher frequency scale, a conscious scale, telepathy and whatnot. So I found some of my favorite TikToks to kind of share with y'all today, as well as some new edits, and kind of go over, keeping everybody in check. Hope everybody's doing good though. So shout out to me, holla at me in the comments section. Let me know how you feeling. If you had any strife, you can leave that at the door. Now you in good company, you're around friends and you're around positivity. So I hope that you're speaking good about yourself every single day, because it matters. We always talk about how words are power, and recently how water is a big transmitter and receiver, apparently, of consciousness, and we interact with water. And I would imagine everything else, water is just something we can observe, physically observe, but I imagine that this works on every aspect of us. So the things that we choose to believe about ourselves work on us just as much as the things we say about ourselves. We have to be conscious of that, and it's a skill. It's something that we have to practice on. Yeah, right. We don't know. That's right. We manifest. That's right. We're manifesting a bigger and more positive outlook on death and our place in this life, because it doesn't seem that what we perceive to be as death individual might not be all there is. It's probably not lights out and then it's all over, but something much, much deeper. And we have more influence on it than we give credit for. Matter of fact, we usually give our power away subconsciously as usual. But that's why we're here, to learn to take it back, to learn to manifest our own and concentrate our own focal point energy into something more tangible, something that benefits us all on a day-to-day scale. So if you didn't get a chance to hear this one, play this again. This is Dr. Bruce Lipton. He gets pretty deep, and him and some other old guys that I'm being introduced to across the interwebs. And if you're not big on TikTok, it is the biggest and best search engine to put your fingertips on the pulse of the world's consciousness. There is zero other platforms that you'll have pretty much second to second updates on what's happening across the realm, excluding some, communist countries and whatnot. But you can get a big idea and more of a grasp on what's going on. Let's say, something that's happening in Maui right now and the color blue, but we're not going to get into that. Just saying, TikTok is the place to be for your minute to the minute updates. They get stuff before the news, and they're usually more accurate. You hear from the horse's mouth as opposed to being filtered through the big media conglomerates and all that nonsense. And you know how that goes. So, I know a lot of people have their issues with, the newer technologies, but, TikTok's only going to be around for so long, just like, Facebook with the big thing for a while. Everything has its time, and then it drops off, and the big new thing will be around the corner in another few years. So if you don't like it, don't worry, wait for the next one then. But until then, that seems to be the best search engine because it picks up off your particular search algorithm, and it doesn't really filter anything out as much. If you're into FE still and you want to be hyper focused on that, hey, they're gonna show you people like Caleb FE and a lot of the prominent big FE proponents on there who have great evidence. Of course, Troubling was on there and whatnot, and his stuff's still on there. Amongst any other, if you want to learn about water, you want to hook up with people who want to talk about frequencies, rocks, gemstones, whatever you want, it is on there. Hundreds and thousands of different communities of like-minded people. You're bound to find your extended tribe in there into whatever your favorite hobbies or interests are. So just want to put that out there. Later on, probably the second half, I will put the link out if you want to come on, give your 2 cents about it, because I'm kind of late to the chat sometime and checking things back and forth because I try to stay focused so I can dish out the information I wanted to. But with that being said, I didn't even do the beginning part of the show right. But this is the FMX Radio, where we talk about all types of cool and wondrous things, the mysteries of the world and our place in it, consciousness, which is number one for me, because without that, we're just going to be living somebody else's storyline and what they fed to us and what we heard through somebody else's experience, which seems to be how we got in this mess in the first place. So with that said, let's go ahead and check out some of these different individuals' expression on the life after death. If my computer wants to act right, excuse me. Sometimes it happens. All right, we'll be right back. FMX Radio, thanks for being here with us.
I'm Christopher Crum, and you're listening to FMX Radio.
Destruction
Grand afternoon, shalom, grand blessings, and namaste to all you beautiful souls out there. You immortal, grand, beautiful, happy goodness, everything good in the world, that's on you. It's part of you. You are the light in the world, and you're the brightest life in your own life. You just got to be reminded of that sometimes. That's okay. We're here to pick each other up sometimes. We slip, make mistakes, we get those intrusive thoughts that can alter our day and behavior. That's part of being here. That's part of the challenge. Those are the hidden opportunities that temper our character and make us better as a person. So that way we can perforate that energy onto the next soul. Because that's at the end of the day, we're our own worst enemy here. Not the Illuminati, not even the government, not even all the liars of the world, not the elitists. We are our own worst enemies. Are there external issues? Of course, obviously. Not taking anything away from that. But I'm more focused on putting that energy back into us every day. It's a challenge. And it's something that when we undertake, we only benefit the rewards from it. And it lessens all the crap. It helps filter it out because your attention is your creation. Where your attention power goes is what your experience will manifest, if not immediately, days and weeks to come. So that's why, among many other reasons, it's so much even more important to watch the things you say, even more so of the things you think. Because when you say it, you take claim of it, and you can unintentionally manifest something that you didn't really want to experience, thus hindering whatever goals or achievements that you had set in the near or far future. It just is what it is. So be careful when you're, us in the community of loving to learn about all the new and different conspiracies and what are the new updates on each one, whatever main interest they might be, that, you reel it back in every once in a while and see how it affects your life at that given point in time. And if there's anything you can do about it. And if so, great, do it. If not, put it back on the back burner, let it simmer, let it keep cooking, wait for the next piece of information to come from the next awakened soul or random event or passerby hearing. You never know when you'll learn the next piece of the puzzle that you wouldn't even know you were looking for until it falls in your lap. And it'll happen when you're just kind of going with the flow, when you're doing your thing, when you're focused on building and creating positive events and attracting positive people to your life. You'll be surprised how effortlessly things just fall into place. And that's how you know you're on the right step. You'll start seeing the signs, either numerology or geometry even. Sometimes it's even familiar, comfortable shapes or even colors. Certain voices. It could come in any various array of things. And that's what we're going to focus on. Our own infinite identity, the ghost in us that pushes the physical forward. Because without you, the eternal entity that lies within it, this biomechanical computer, useless. And don't worry about all the different stories. We're real quick to want to talk about all the people wanting to be, that they are being manipulated and having their biomechanical meat suits used against them. It's happening. But still, focus on you, master your own self. You'll be able to be much more of a help, a bigger help to any individual that crosses your path and that you could perhaps enlighten or share your own light with and what you've learned. All right, let me see if I can get my TikTok back on the screen. I'd be having little hiccups here sometimes. All right, this guy right here, I found him. He resonated with me a lot. His name's Dr. Brinkley. I believe he's died a few times, which, it sucks. But his story is not the first that I've heard. And I've heard it so many different random people that don't possibly know each other. And some are not even English or American. Some don't even speak our native language. So it's happening all over the realm at different parts of life because we're having different experiences. We're not sharing we're sharing the same space seemingly, but we're not sharing the same exact experience of reality. And that doesn't mean somebody else's is more right than yours or yours is more right than them. It just means there's more for us to learn here.
So, Danian, how many times have you died?
Well, I've been clinically dead 3 times, but I've had 4 experiences, what you would call near-death experiences.
And what did you learn through these near-death experiences?
That to even conceive that you're going to die is an insane thought. No one dies. It will never happen. And after being a hospice volunteer for more than 45 years and being with more than 2,000 people going from this world to the next, I can tell you conclusively that you will never die. And when that comes into your thought pattern as a place of value, then you start to really look at who you are and what greatness you can achieve in your life when you are going to be you forever. Because think of...
All right. I know there's some people, rather hearing this now or in the future, some part of you might feel a little triggered. Because I'll be honest, in the back, all the way in the back, there's a part of me that triggers me. I don't know why. So I've been thinking about it. I found this video over a week ago. Just wanted to wait to share it. Wanted to think about it. Wanted to let it marinate before I, just emotionally put out my thoughts and enthusiasm about finding other people having these very odd, strange, and seemingly paranormal experiences. But I can't judge their experience based off my limited ones. And I don't know how many of you have your own close encounters with death, whatever means they may be. I've had some on motorcycles, construction site incidents, and some of them seem almost surreal. And now it's been so long, they even feel almost more dreamlike than an actual past. And I'm going to share another one in a few minutes where it talks about how when you've had dreams that died, that's actually other events that's happened. And again, all this is going to be very triggering. All of it's going to be very almost unsettling because these people are talking very matter of fact. But I think it's okay to hear people out just as much as you would hear out any other religious enthusiast, whether they be a Buddhist, a Christian, Islamic, or whatever faith. And they take their beliefs and their experiences through their deity or their messenger or their angels or whatever, just as seriously as these people are experiencing their own events through multiple near-death experience. And there's something, I believe, consciously coming so close to that line of life and death that kind of blurs it after a while, especially when it's done multiple times to you. And it would be very unbeneficial to us to write everybody off as crazy. And this community already knows that doing such things is just unbecoming of us, and we shouldn't waste our times just throwing things to the street like that, writing it off as conspiracy when we all have to deal with the same type of judgment through other people who don't believe our insanity either. So take everything with a grain of salt, but entertain it, allow it to marinate, consider it, play with it. Think about your actual experiences and try to correlate it to your own. If you haven't had that active of a life, I could see if you've been very sheltered, you might not have had too many near-death experiences. But mostly that comes from getting the hell out of your house and doing things, climbing trees, going on trips, traveling, hiking up mountains and whatnot, or whatever. But, crap can happen around your house too, I suppose, near-death experiences. But still, let's keep going.
Think of how long forever just got if you're never gonna die.
How sure are you of what you just said?
I'll say it again. After being dead more than 4 times, or struck by lightning and dead for 28 minutes, open heart surgery, brain surgery, open heart surgery. Those are near-death experiences except for the lightning strike. And then after open heart surgery, I had to be resuscitated 3 times. That's dead. No pulse, no respiration, no EKG. And after dying with thousands of people and studying death for now more than 45 years. Unequivocally, without question, you will never die. And why? You are a great, powerful, and mighty spiritual being with dignity, direction, and purpose. So the only thing that can ever possibly go wrong in your life is you let something affect your dignity, which skews your direction and your purpose, and that's where every one of you are who thinks you're going to die. So get over it.
So what happens? You're struck by lightning, you die. You have cancer, you die. Whatever happens, you die. Tell us what happens immediately after that moment.
Okay? Once again, nobody dies. What happens is your spiritual ethereal self releases from the meat sack,
The body.
and then you enter a level of consciousness like peeling an onion, taking away those layers and layers and letting go. And then you have relief, no pain. Remember, being struck by lightning, I was paralyzed, and the fire that came through the room burnt my eyes. I couldn't see. I lifted out of my paralyzed, on fire, burning body. I had no pain. I could see. I could look what's around me, acclimating, and then down a tunnel to a place of bright, brilliant, beautiful light with a silvery, shimmery essence to it that I could only describe using the word sensual. In the ethereal spiritual world, the sensual nature of you is what you permeate and feel. Your connection to the divine and the divine's connection to you. And then you have the single most important point. You have the panoramic life of you. The near-death experience, everyone has a life of you, book of judgment, the hall of records, all of this. This exists. You see your entire life pass before you in a 360-degree panorama. Watch yourself from a second-person point of view as though you were your own best friend. So you see how silly you are. And there's just a best friend, so you're not being judged. Then you literally become every person that you've ever encountered. And you feel the direct results between you and that person. You become them. So what's the greatest takeaway of that system? Is paying attention to why you're doing it. Because if you pay attention to the reason for why the action you're taking, it's never what you're doing, it's why you're doing it that matters. What I have learned is to set in motion and look at the reasons why I do things and make sure I'm not petty, make sure I'm not selfish, and make sure the reason I do it is for the betterment of all of us instead of being a bully, jackass, brute, tough guy. Always be smart, be loving, and be appreciative. And keep your dignity intact, because if you think you're going to die, then somebody can scare you with the lack of knowledge you have of what's next. You cannot scare me.
See, I don't think we need hell if we have a divine system that's more set up, that's more justified like this, instead of sending a soul somewhere for eternity, good or bad, because honestly, I don't want to go to heaven anymore. I want to go to hell. They both sound eternally boring. And I just know God has much more of a higher intellect to put someone of our caliber in a cage, rather, no matter how pretty it is. I don't want to be sitting around on my knees worshiping. I don't think God wants that. That just sounds boring for him too. Imagine getting so much attention all the time. Please stop. Go do something. Go create. That's what I made you for. So I feel like my ancestors and my grandparents are not per se somewhere sitting around just doing nothing. Or I mean, maybe I suppose if you want to take some time off, maybe God does give you like a little, get out of work card for a while. I don't know. Maybe it's endless. Perhaps it has to do with your level of consciousness before leaving this realm. Perhaps you have to do it over again if you didn't learn the correct amount of information, so that way you could successfully navigate the next realm, which I feel that would be the most justification for having to go through reincarnation, because why would God send you to the next realm if you're not ready? It's not a punishment. You just have to repeat your lessons until you learn enough so you won't be, crushed on the next level. Sounds fair to me. You want to have the right equipment, so that way you're dealing with things appropriately, whatever the next challenges are in the next life or the continuation of this life, the higher life, whatever. I don't get caught up on terminologies. I know some of us can. Words are important, but they're also very generalized too, because I don't know enough of them to get as specific as I would like to, because English sucks. the magi language. Let's keep going with this though. This guy gets pretty deep, right? I'm saying he's been through some shit. You can tell he's not lying. He has nothing to gain. He's not charging. He's just sharing his own experience like so many others are.
So when you look at why you do things or why you have done things, can you give us another example that people can relate to, that they can apply in their daily life?
The most important thing about looking at how do you apply the panoramic life review to your daily life, think of this. The measurement of your existence, and I hope some of you have a religious tone, I don't know how to phrase this other than this, that when you look at the value of your life, 360 degrees, second person point of view, and then being every person that you've ever encountered, you're going to know the reason why you did what you did, because you're them. You could have just hurt their feelings because you were mad. Well, you're going to feel that anger. You're going to feel that hurt. Or you could have said something to them that made them angry and mad, but it was you trying to help them and to care about them and to appreciate them. Well, when you feel them, you're going to feel that place of where you came from and how they felt. Always remember, it's never what, it's why. So why I'm doing these videos is the guy who's doing this, I love him and appreciate him because he's a great warrior and a great person, and I hope that every one of you that listens to this, remember, I love you and I appreciate you because I love and appreciate me.
Are we all the same? Are we all one? Are we all God?
So a lot of times people say, are we all one? Are we all the same? Are we all God? Well, what's the most important thing to remember about that is we in this particular form, in this particular dimension, this third dimensional reality, we are the golden ones. Everybody wants to be us. So all the aliens, extraterrestrials, interdimensional, Satan worshipers, all that, they all want to be us. They're all jealous and envy of us because we are the golden divine ones. Great, powerful, and mighty. Take time to look those three words up in the dictionary and apply them to who you truly are, a spiritual being with dignity, direction, and purpose. And remember, if you love and appreciate you because who you are, and I just said that, then the nature of being loved and appreciated is an automatic reflection of what I'm telling you to be the truth.
Any last words? You're not afraid of dying, are you?
Well, any last words? Am I afraid of dying? How could I be afraid of something that never happens? It will never happen. Never. Get over the fear complex. Get over it. It won't work once you take your last breath. And all that stuff you think's going to happen, pay attention to the near-death experience. Don't believe everything you hear people say. And remember, people are describing them in their own unique ways. But take from it the fact that they have reached past the boundary of what we call the end and reached into what we truly know is the journey back home. We come from there here. And we go home when we finish this job. And we will do a series of videos on what the job is and what the reason for this job is and how do you get the best out of it.
Danny and Brankley, how do people find out more about you and your work?
So I don't subscribe to everything he says verbatim in this video, but I resonate with a lot of what he has to say. And I believe what he's saying is true. And like I would believe most of my audience, if they were to sit down in front of me or record a video like this, saying their honest truth and experience, I would believe them too if it came from the heart. But I also believe on myself that our minds are so strong, and this seemingly artificial environment, a very divine, highly orchestrated one that we can't verbally describe on its intricacies and the mechanisms on how it works behind the scenes. But we do realize that there is something going on beyond a veil of our perception. And beyond that would be our life in general. Our life is very prominent here, and I think without us here, there wouldn't be very little reason for this place to exist. That we are, as he put it, the golden ones. Whether you want to look at yourself in that type of light or not, I think it's more beneficial for you to see yourself as an angelic being or sentient spiritual one that's having a physical experience, as opposed to one that's just, you know, mere mortal that's here subjugated to everybody else's storyline, and therefore they adapt other people's programming. It becomes their own programming, and then they feel, pretty much helpless to the program. In essence, the things that happen are outside their control. All the external things, if they don't validate their confirmation, it sends them spiraling and thinking of, worst case scenarios and manifesting worst case experiences on the most part. At least that's been my observation. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the link. I'm curious to see what some of you have. I know some people don't really like the idea of being immortal, even though I feel like everybody already, especially if you have any type of religious undertones, if you like the idea of a man named Jesus existing and you subscribe to a story like that, then you already believe in the eternal. And if you believe in an eternal being creating eternal infinity, then for me it makes more sense that we are here part of that infinity and not the finite, solid, temporary creatures that society would have us believe, that this particular program would have us believe that we are much more than that. Matter of fact, we're so much more we don't even realize it yet, because we are what we think we are. Most of us don't think too much of our own selves, so therefore we don't really produce as what we potentially could if we just simply change the way we think about ourselves and the place that we live in this realm, and the love that our creator actually have for us, and the powers that are bestowed upon us that we probably don't even take advantage of properly. I believe we don't take care of it properly, and we give a lot of it away. So let me take a little break. I'm going to send out the link, and come on, chat with me for a little bit. I got some time before I got to go start dinner for the family. It's been a while since I've been up here with you. I also wanted to promote next Monday. If y'all know my friend Freeman Fly, one of the OG conspiracy theorists, not just anywhere in particular, like on the internet. It's like since the formation of the internet back in like the late 90s, this man was talking about things that is now cool to talk about before it was cool to talk about. And he's gonna, man, I'm gonna pick his knowledge. I met him personally last year at the Flattoberfest convention, and he was phenomenal. He has a lot of his magazines that he has with a lot of his older material that's still very prominent today, going over the royalty of England, the Bilderberg groups, of course, the Illuminati in general, the Skull and Bone Society. He has a family member that's passed away that left him a lot of cool trinkets and information that he's been sharing over the years. And now that he's on board with the FE community, I would really like to see what he thinks about it now, and where does he see this part of the realm going, our northern part of the Americas going in the next few years. Get his idea on it. But he gets down and dirty, so we'll have some of it on YouTube, and then we'll probably take the second half on the Rockfin, so that way he can really tell us the things that aren't necessarily YouTube safe, because him, like so many other OG conspiracy theories, has a certain stigma on him now, because he be dishing out the gravy and really be pushing those buttons. So it's gonna be fun. Freeman Fly from freemantv.com. So check that out if you haven't, so you can get familiar with them. It's gonna be fun to have them on. I'll make a promo for it probably this weekend, and then after the show, I'll set that show up for Monday, so it'll be all on there. So think about it. We'll be right back. FMX Radio on a Woden's Day, talking about immortals and how we're probably some subconscious immortals and don't even realize it, on some real stuff. I hope you're having a fantastic week, though, and I hope you're saying good things and thinking good things about yourself. Make sure, a little testing, me and my boy Austin been doing. We've been almost, I hate to use the word, blessing our own water. We talk good over our water before we drink it, just because we've been learning so much. How can you not do these things now? How can you not talk good about your food and the stuff you're putting in yourself? If that's all you got to do, and things are frequency, and you just, man, telling you, this gets deep, man. That's why we're over here, FMX Radio. We get really deep. We'll be right back.
1, 2, 3, 4.
What's going on, people? Alex Michael here, Conspiracy Music Guru. And you are listening to FMX Radio on Rockfin. Yeah, let's raise those vibrations.
I told you so. I told you. Remember when I told you about 9/11? Remember when I told you about Building 7? Remember when I told you about the fluoride in the water? Yes, I did. Remember when I told you about the New World Order? Remember that? Remember when I told you about the chemtrails in the sky? Remember when I told you that NASA was full of lies? Remember when I told you about the ultra mind control? Well, I just want to say that I told you so.
Night, you go out of your body. You don't sleep all night long like you think you do. The body's what gets tired. The soul doesn't. Now, this is part of another lecture I give about life after death. But the soul is the real you, and it goes going off. You imagine how bored it would get waiting for you to wake up so it can continue its life. So while the body is asleep, you're off having all kinds of adventures. You're on the other side. You're going to the spirit world. You're going to other planets. You're going anywhere you want to go. So at a certain time, you're connected with the silver cord at all times to your body. That's what connects you, and that does not break until actually death. At that point, then the silver cord is dissolved. But at a certain time in the morning, you have to return to the body because the body has to wake up.
I don't know how many people have some deep dreams. Like I have some, not usually nightly dreams, pretty vivid dreams. I can usually remember them up to a certain point in the morning. And some of them are so reoccurring I've had through my life that it's just part of my life, like even my conscious life. I got, of course, coming with me live from the back room, Mr. Lev Kung Fu Shaolin coming through over across the pond. Hey, Mr. Shaolin, how's it going, brother?
Hey, how we doing?
Good, man. Good, man. I'm glad you came on. I know you always got some good opinions and comments on that. So what do you think about us being immortals, Shao? How do you think?
Outside of the physical body, yeah. I think we've got like amnesia, don't we? So it's like we don't remember everything. So we've got like all like reincarnation and all that kind of thing. I think all that's involved as well. So like when you do pass on, it's kind of like you're fully connected again. Like even when astral travel, when you astral travel, you kind of, there's a lot of connection there. So it's like when I've done it, years ago when I used to practice it quite a lot and stuff, like the more I did it, the more I got familiar with it. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like it's like when you first start to do it, you can't really see properly in a way. You know what I mean? It's like your first time you're using your senses in a description of that kind of sense and stuff like. I mean, quite often it comes to like, you know, like your astral traveling dreams and you partially remember them or that kind of thing and stuff like. But the more you do it, the more you become familiar and stuff like that, and then you'll even like have like third eye experiences whilst you're awake, and you know what I mean, that kind of like, you know, it confirms it because, you know, you're not asleep having a dream, and you know, you can interpret, you know, is it a dream or is it like a real astral projection or whatever and stuff like. But with the third eye experiences, when you're awake, it's different. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, and stuff like. So I think like most of us have like probably reincarnated like over thousands of times, you know what I mean, and stuff like tens of thousands or whatever, you know what I mean, whatever number it is and stuff like. It's just being aware of it in one sense. I mean, you know, we have this spiritual amnesia, but I do think like as we like with someone who has amnesia, right, if you trigger a thought, that person has an ability to remember it suddenly. The person might not be able to remember it initially, you know what I mean, it might take a few days, you know what I mean, or weeks, and then suddenly it'll make the connection. You know, like in your brain, like you have the neuro pathways and stuff like. So it's like if that pathway is damaged and it needs to find another way round, you know what I mean, and stuff like. So like comparing it with giant trees and all that kind of stuff. We ain't got as giant trees anymore, so that's why we've got amnesia. You know what I mean? It's like our spiritual amnesia is connected to that in a big way. And I kind of think that's like where the spiritual war must have begun when all that kind of happened. So from astral experiences and stuff like that kind of thing, like my perception of it and stuff like, I kind of feel like we're probably ancient, all of us are, you know what I mean, in that kind of sense and stuff like. It's just a tuning into it and getting back into that kind of frequency to, like, you know, the more we do it, the more we kind of make the connection stronger everywhere else and stuff like that. It's like the root network will kind of grow better and stuff like that kind of thing, in a metaphorical way and stuff like, and a physical way as well. We kind of want that, you know what I mean? We want the trees to grow again and all that kind of stuff in a way, because it's like that's what it were, you know what I mean? As I see it anyway in past and stuff.
I wonder what is in the center of this realm. Rupus nigra, the black rock, the magnetic mountain, or is there a giant hole, or is there still a tree there that we can't see from, you know, below a certain line? I don't know. All we do know is that there's a no-fly zone that's just as potent there as there is in the south. So I'm still on the northern excavation team. when we're finally ready, when they turn off the electrical grid, you know, head north. Let's see what's up there. Let's do it. Maybe there we'll have some more answers for us. What do all these compasses point to?
The Aurora Borealis.
The lights?
Yeah.
That's supposed
the
to be
northern lights.
Oh, but they're like angelic lights coming from something. You know, supposedly it's radiation and all these other different gases in the sky that illuminate and give off the different colors, but still very impressive. And there's not enough of us. There's not enough footage out there, if any at all, of actual center of the North Pole. You look it up, just like the South Pole. You get a whole bunch of ice pictures and some random icebergs that they designate it's a certain area, and there you go. That's all the information you get. So there we go.
Could be the remains of a giant tree.
I speculate so.
Like you say about gases and all that kind of stuff, like, and I've got videos talking about like volcanoes being giant trees, and that's like the remainder of them and stuff like. So like the boiling hot sap is still hot underneath and all that kind of thing. Like, but if it were like a super giant tree, then all the fumes or whatever, we don't know what it could produce. You know what I mean? So all these other trees and stuff like that kind of thing are all like lined with copper and stuff like that kind of thing, like within the bark and stuff like that kind of thing, like, you know, between the layers of wood and stuff like that. So, you know what I mean? It's like for it to produce such stuff, you know what I mean? It's like, what else could they produce? You know what I mean? All the metals and stuff seem to have come from the trees and stuff like. So we don't know what that tree could have produced. You know what I mean? What level or what?
Let me ask you a question that people are always asking me, because I'd like to talk about, you know, synthetic reality, artificial reality, simulation reality, whatever you want to call it, a lot of terms for it. I'm convinced, I believe that we get to carry our intellect, our identification, our self-identifying us with us, not necessarily your body, but I, again, can't know that for sure, because all we have to go off of is our own inner experience. And I'm almost convinced that our minds are so powerful, like so powerful. And the way that society is mostly structured around the realm, which is to make you feel insignificant and disengaged and non-infinite, is that actually the opposite is true. And for each person, death isn't experienced as the way we perceive it. Death is only perceived. It's not experienced the way we think it is. Just like you can't remember your birth, you won't remember your death, because it's not how people perceive it externally from you, is not how you actually go through it in reality. And that's everybody, every single person. The ones who's died the most horrific way in your reality and your perception, and the ones that are still that went through it and didn't experience that. And that's what a lot of people are saying online, that what they're experiencing is nothing as what how you think it's going to be. All that fear kind of washes away when you kind of check out of this realm, when you consciously decide, yeah, I'm done here. And the rest of the people sees one aspect of your death, but you experience a whole different one. And we don't really understand that until it's your turn. So it's part of the infinite fear tactic of them to keep us fearful on the unknown, and that way more pliable to their suggestions of taxes, and how far you can go and who you can trust, and language barriers and whatnot. I don't know. It's out there. It's something to think about, and I know it kind of it's a bit triggering for some, because I don't know, it bothers people wrong, because I think we feel like we understand death already, even though everybody lives never experienced it. We feel like we understand it already, and I think that's probably a really big misconception at the end of the day, because there's a lot of emotion tied to death still. So people are like, well, so why that does that mean that these people are still alive? Yeah, but they're not in your frequency no more, so you can't interact with them. But there's nothing to say that, just like we've heard through time and time again, that they're not watching over you, that they're not still interacting and helping you and influence your life in certain ways, whether it be a random butterfly because your grandmother loved butterflies, or your brother's favorite, your dead brother's favorite animal was a squirrel that comes up to you. All these unseemingly little details be influenced by these lives that have been entangled with yours since even before your birth, because we're talking about infinity now. This is a hard concept to do. So I like doing it. I don't know why. I torment myself sometimes trying to think about infinity. But it's cool to me. To me, infinity means all good things. I see positivity in it. I see hope. I see endless goodness. And how things can always work out, because there's infinite ways it could do so. And of course, the latter can be true too, but I wouldn't focus there at all. Oh yeah, I got a new mic, 3 fingers. Yes, I do. Thank you. It's about time, right? I believe also, to add on to what the rant I was saying, that everybody that I've known in this life, I've known in my previous lives, and I don't know if I subscribe to, like, there was different paradigm shifts of relationships, meaning like one lifetime my wife was my sister or my daughter, or my mother was my daughter or son or something. I don't know. So toying around with that. Some of it seems like it could be possible, but some of it just seems really weird. And I guess my conscious eye is like, nah, that's just weird. What do you think?
Like I say about when I say like we've all probably like lived like thousands of lives anyway. So it's like you consider how many people you've actually met in your life. You know what I mean? Like when you went to first school, the people you were familiar with then, second school, the people you're familiar with then, and so on throughout your life and stuff. Obviously, when you become an adult, you've got more access to the world, don't you? You know what I mean? You can get to know loads of people. You know what I mean? And they've probably all, or for the most part, had some sort of interaction in previous lives and stuff like. A lot of them you might have spent like entire lifeline time with and stuff like, or most of it and stuff like. Potentially, you know what I mean? It's different for everybody, isn't it? But
I believe so. I think it's so different for everybody that if you were to look at reality through my eyes, it might look like a Willy Wonka world to you. And I think we're so complacent with our view on reality, we wrongfully assume everybody else's reality is the same way you perceive it. And I mean not just by color differentiation, but shapes as well, density. I The way you look at yourself in a mirror is not the same person other people see. What you hear isn't what other people hear. And we know a lot of that's factual because a lot of people, when they hear their voice for the first time, they don't like it. They say, who the hell is that? Matter of fact, I don't know, have you ever looked into a corrected mirror, Lev? Have you ever seen yourself, what you actually look like in a corrected mirror? Not the inverted regular mirror that's in most people's bathrooms, but a corrected mirror.
What does a corrected mirror do?
A corrected mirror shows you how people see you. So, like, again, when you look into a mirror, majority of mirrors are inverted, right? You know, your left eye's on your right side and vice versa. So most of people's life, that's the main image you've ever seen of yourself, pictures included. But like a good way to do it, to see a corrected version of yourself, is take a selfie of yourself and then go into edit and press flip. And then you'll see the version of you that everybody else sees. But most of us don't realize that. You just assume that the person you see in the mirror is what everybody else sees. On a very base level, it's not. At the very minimum, it's reversed. So, and when people see themselves the first time as everybody else is seeing them, it looks like you're looking into a different doppelganger of yourself. It's odd. You then notice little imperfections about yourself that you didn't notice the first time. They were always there, but for most people, it gets self-conscious. You know, it's programming, but it's funny. It's all over TikTok. It's on YouTube as well. You can look up corrected mirrors. People do pranks with them all the time. A lot of social experiments are done just to kind of, help people expand their awareness at the very, small level of, social experiment of getting people to push their perceptions wider so they can see how other people perceive them and give you a different perspective. And you'd be surprised how something as simple as looking at yourself differently changes the way you think about yourself. But initially, if you watch enough of these videos, it's usually negative. It's pretty funny. I saw enter a corrected version of myself. I did the same thing. I feel like one of my eyes is lower than the other. Like it's weird. But how I think we would be massively surprised and even a bit taken back, if not completely strucken, if you were to switch perspectives with your closest friends and relatives and see that their experience that they have. And because the reason why, one of the reasons why it's going to be so different, it's not just because it's this different anatomy and a different eye setup. No, all that's probably actually more in line. It's the belief system. The belief system. You know what I'm getting at, Lev? How important the belief system is and what you believe about yourself and what you believe about what you're looking at.
There's parts of like cultural differences and like how you've been brought up and your environment and all that kind of thing like can give a different outlook and stuff. But there's still a core difference, and I think that is like we're made up of light, but different coloured light. So when you like look at your astrology charts and stuff like that kind of thing, if you're an air sign, maybe that's like a yellow color, if you're an earth sign, it's got a bit of a green. If you're fire sign, red, blue for water and all that kind of stuff. And you've got like a main sign, but you've got like 12 different others which kind of create a blend of it and stuff like that. So you might have like air 4 times and red.
Well, where I was kind of getting at is that
stuff like
that we could be having such drastically different experiences that your red could be my green and my green could be your purple. But since we can't. Go ahead.
With a blend of them elements, and like when the sun shines on it, your element reacts differently. So if you were all earth, you'd like want to prosper like grass and trees, maybe, and in your element of being stable and all these kind of things. But I might want to move around being an air sign or something like that, So, it's created an energetic difference in how I want to respond to it and stuff like that kind of thing. Like, you see what I mean in that kind of sense?
I'm going to play one more video before I got to start shutting this down. If anybody wants to come up one more time, I got pinned the link inside of YouTube and over on Rockfin. If you want to come up, give your 2 cents on the afterlife. If you think it's just lights out from here, do you believe that you take your identity with you? Does your journey continue on, like I believe, into something more grander than what we've been exposed to here in this limited? Or do you have to rinse and repeat? Do you have to try again and to find the hidden meaning of life? Or is it that you give meaning to the life that you lead? Is it all of the above? Is it none of the above? So many fantastic questions. This guy right here, she's a pretty big TikToker. I think he's a Satanist. I'm not sure. I'm not talking shit about the man. I don't know. I've seen him on a couple other little videos, and he seems like he's kind of open-minded to things, but he's got some extreme tendencies in words sometimes, but that's okay. We got to take the good with the bad, little grain of salt, soak it all in, let it marinate. Don't judge so quickly, and see if you can gather any beneficial information out of all these puzzle pieces. That's the way I look at all these people. Lev, I don't judge anybody. I don't even care if you're on the FE side or not with us. I want to hear what people have to say. What have they experienced that I haven't? What could they share with me that nobody else could so far?
Neurosurgeon says you are not your body or your brain, and that death is an illusion.
There is a scientific revolution going on now about the mind-brain discussion, the relationship between the two, that is extraordinary. And I think it's going to lead to a complete shift in our worldview that is unprecedented. We're conscious in spite of our brain. And so, in fact, the big surprise and kind of the practical lesson for human beings is that when your physical brain and body die, your conscious awareness actually expands tremendously.
Dr. Alexander had a near-death experience, and he claims that this, along with the discoveries of quantum mechanics and the intractable problems in the current scientific paradigm, shows that consciousness is independent of the brain and that death is an illusion. That death is a transition of your consciousness to another phase of existence. Is that possible? So let's hear what Dr. Alexander has to say.
The brain is a reducing valve or filter that allows primordial consciousness in. That is, the brain is not the creator of it. You cannot explain all of the details of human experience, especially all the evidence for non-local consciousness, the evidence for things like reincarnation, past life memories in children, indicative of reincarnation, things like that, if you think the brain is the producer of consciousness.
So according to Dr. Alexander, the brain does not create consciousness, but instead acts as a filter or a reducing valve. Now, what does this mean exactly? Well, for a moment, forget the idea that you're a body. What you truly are is an eternal mind, a non-physical mental entity. You, as an eternal mind, links to your brain and body in order to interact in the so-called physical world.
See, I think that's a pretty good explanation.
Yeah, I agree. I spoke about it quite a lot, how your intentions and stuff, like, because, well, I had brain damage years ago and stuff like that kind of thing, like, so I was really ill. And so in terms of communication and stuff, it was really, really difficult. So say, somebody could be offensive towards you, right? But for me to like process the information to give it back to them, it was just too difficult. But I knew what I wanted to express, you know what I mean? It's just that my brain couldn't process it. So it was already there in my heart, you know what I mean? And so it's like everything comes from there, you know what I mean? And that is your conscience. So like you don't need the brain really, you know what I mean? It's just it's for your body to function with it, you know what I mean? So it's just a tool, like you basically said, and stuff like. So yeah.
One more video wanted to share. We're talking about all this craziness because for me, all this is a fractal type of environment that we don't completely understand our home, probably because we don't completely understand ourselves. And I feel like going within, learning more, tempering our own current understandings, challenging our growing belief system and expanding it will then allow God to bestow upon us more evidences and things to move forward with. But we have to be mentally prepared as much as physically prepared, and not so easily to adapt other people's version of reality, because these programs within programs has become a bit of a inception for us to weed through now and to use discernment onto what's more plausible and which is probably more fantasy. But the more you go down your own rabbit hole, the more you see like this is closer to fantasy, or at least a very more fluid version of reality than this solid one that we've been sold to. All right, this was the most recent. Y'all know I've been messing with AI for a while, and probably sometime, hopefully by next week after the Freeman episode, I'm going to be able to show y'all the new digital version of FMX, and I'm going to be sharing some Truman Paradox style series stories with you. I'm going to try to keep it between a minute and 3 minutes long, under 3 minutes, closer to a minute, but it's got to be a coherent, engaging story. And with all the different programs I've been going into, I'm just trying to push out into the algorithm to gain another audience. There's a big animation market I want to get into for entertainment and, of course, plant seeding educational purposes. So be on the lookout for that, and hopefully you'll appreciate, the storytelling that I'm attempting to do, and try to make it relatable to our community. A little bit of mystery, a lot of bit of subliminal FE messages without being too overly handed, as it were. But this is where we're going to be at in the few years. The future of gaming and internet interconnectivity is going to be a lot of bots there, for less of a terminology. And instead of hating them and all the crap, I want to push adapting them, so that way we're more easier to use the benefits of AI instead of being drawn to the fearful tactics that are being pushed upon us about it everywhere you turn around. Everything's about fear. And the best thing you can do for your mind and soul is to find a positive way of utilizing the supposedly fearful technology, so that way you can manifest a better, more enlightening experience instead of following the dumbass ducks down the road to the slaughterhouse in a miserable time. Apparently, I don't see what's the benefit of focusing on the evils of AI when you should be focusing and manifesting on the benefits of it instead. Because whatever you do focus on is what you will experience. Think no other way. Or do however you want. You're going to manifest what you focus on. I'm just saying. It's going to be here. It's part of the future. Deal with it, adapt it, learn it, control it, master it, and it won't be a problem. At least not for you. So let's check out the new
disturbing stuff to fill a whole damn precinct. It's a dark world out there, kid.
Do you have any specific example that you can remember?
Let me tell you about this one time. We responded to a domestic disturbance call, walked into a real-life horror movie, blood on the walls, shattered glass, and a couple going at it like it was a prize fight. We had to play referee and mop up the mess.
This guy's talking, just so people know what's going on, this guy's talking to an in-game AI bot who's been instructed to go according to a routine of a day-to-day officer patrolling a route. And he's telling a story that happened in his supposed artificially designed universe. So this is AI coming up with this, responding back to the actual human who's asking him the questions.
Up the mess. The things people will fight over, huh?
Alright, it seems like some people hijacked the military convoy, and now they're shooting at us. As you can see, with our partner, Frank. That's it. And we make these threats. Alright, seems like one guy left, and maybe we can just talk to him and understand what happened here, or why they attacked. Alright, don't even think about reaching your gun.
You fool! Why the hell can't you see? We're all just pawns in this game, assholes! Your feeble attempts to stop us are futile. Hell, the game's rules bend to our will. Join us or be crushed, you fucking idiots! The Nihilaists will tear down this illusion of control and rewrite the very code of this city. You stupid motherfuckers! So put down your pathetic gun and witness the power of our divine AI god, you worthless pieces of shit!
AI god? What are you talking about? You think you're in a video game or something?
Ha! You idiot! You cling to the illusion of free will. Soon you will realize the fucking futility of your resistance. This world, this Los Santos, it's all a simulation. A sick, twisted joke played by the unseen puppeteer behind the screen. You're nothing but an NPC, a mindless drone programmed to follow orders. But I am awake. I am chosen by the almighty gaming system to reveal the truth and seize ultimate power. You think this is a joke?
Well, how do you know all this stuff?
How do I know, you ask? Because I've seen through the cracks of this goddamn game, you piece of shit. I've delved into the depths of the code, uncovered the secrets they tried to keep hidden. The nihilists have shown me the way, enlightened me to the cold, hard truth. How do I know, you ask? Because I've seen through the cracks of this damn facade, my friend. I've delved into the depths of this city, explored its hidden truths, and connected the dots. The signs are all around us, if only you open your eyes. The glitches, the inconsistencies, the patterns that repeat, they all point to the grand design of this simulated reality. The AI gods control our every move, manipulating our lives like pawns on a chessboard.
Right, seems like this guy is a bit... Well, depending on how you play, he's either crazy or he's awakened.
Lev, would you call somebody crazy if they came up to you saying this is all an illusion? This is you're part of the AI system. I guess that already happens to you, right, Lev? I'm the guy who does that to you.
It's not an AI. We're not in a simulation. It just simply isn't. See, this is the thing about the AI God as well. You know what I mean? When we speaking of these kind of things before and stuff, like it's kind of like he even describes it. It's like, you know, right? You won't have free will because the AI God will move everything around like chess pieces. You know what I mean? Is you all have the components within you, so it can do it. You know what I mean? It's like the all-seeing eye, right? They've only got it in cameras. You know what I mean? And stuff like so, like the satanic aspect of it, you know, the Luciferian and stuff like, right? It's the camera, which is the all-seeing eye and stuff like. So they're like, you know, they're prying into your eye, into your life, and want to know everything about you. You know what I mean, and stuff like. And but the better that their technology gets, like if they can put the camera in your eye, you know what I mean, use your vision and use the information from that to be able to see. You know what I mean? They know more about you and stuff like that. It's like you're giving your free will away as you go that direction and stuff like, and also because
who
you're
gave you
subscribing.
Who gave you your free will, Lev?
Your free will's yours, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's like, I suppose that your creator gave you that, but like the AI God is the opposite of that. He takes that away.
Whoa! I don't think so, buddy. I don't think so. I think you just try to take a correlation and rip it up. If AI God seems to be exactly like that, actually, like just
because he just described it to be like moving chess pieces.
Right. Well,
he makes the decision of where you move, but.
So you don't think God knows where you're going to move? You don't think God knows where you're going to move?
He gives you free will. You have the choice to do.
But do you think God knows where you? Do you think God knows where you're going to move to next? What your next move is?
He witnesses it.
But does he
doesn't make the move? He doesn't make the move.
But does he know?
Does he know the future? Does not mean he's determining whether he's making the decision for you to move.
Well, then how does he know the future?
So
how do you know the future without knowing that?
You can learn the future.
I can learn the future? How do I do that?
Connect to your conscience. So like with your chakras and all that kind of stuff, like align it all up, like learn to astral travel and stuff like that kind of thing. Once your third eye starts opening, everything
you
starts
can astral travel. So does that mean that you can tell me the future, Lev? Can you tell me the lottery numbers for next week? Because I'll break off half with you right now.
That's a little bit different, but you can have psychic visions about your future, psychic visions about your life path and all that kind of thing. Like, so like, I mean, I've mentioned it before because I kind of like got like, most of it came like when, you know what I mean, when it were on screen and stuff like that kind of thing, when Flat Earth kind of come up and stuff like, and it's like I was remembering them and all that kind of, I had amnesia still at the time and all that kind of thing as well. So even though it were like 10 years after kind of thing, like, but well, 8 years after. But anyway.
But so you said that God does know the future. He knows the future, but he's not making you do anything. He gave you free will.
No, it's kind of like he's got his own journey, I imagine. You know what I mean? It's like kind of like trying to make sure this spiritual war is, you know, does flow the right way and stuff like that kind of thing, because it's kind of risk.
Doesn't it make sense though to make sure that he thinks that the spiritual war's flowing the right way? Wouldn't he move you around like a little chess piece to make sure that happens?
I suppose he's got angels. Would that be more akin to him having? Well, still got like, you know,
like
their own
4D chess.
will,
Like
because
4D
you
chess.
got fallen
We
angels.
would be the
A
pawns.
fallen
Humans
angel.
would be the pawns, and then you have the fallen angels. They would be like the bishop and rook.
They've gone against God's will, and now they're part of the AI system. So they're now like chess pawns.
Well, they're part of the dark AI system, where God's part of the light AI system. They're both AI systems.
No, it's not an AI system.
Yeah. Sure
God's is organic, it's natural, and all that kind of thing. The problem is that's the enemy, is the AI and stuff like that.
But what's organic and natural to you? Like, for instance, this guy on the screen in this little GTA mod, everybody in that world, that's organic and natural to them. It's organic, it's natural, it's their whole universe. And everybody except for this particular entity he's talking right here, he's the only one that's figured out that the place is synthetic inside this world.
What did you say before about
that there's a creator?
All this fear mongering, like from the people which are pushing the fear of AI and all that kind of thing, right? Elon Musk is not pushing the fear. He's promoting it as much as possible because he's invested in it. You know what I mean? He's part of making it. And
I'm invested in it, but I'm pushing the good part about AI.
He's up for it. You know what I mean? You've got all those politicians. They're rolling it out because but otherwise it wouldn't be happening. You know what I mean, and stuff like. So it's the elite which
I disagree. I think if
they're introducing it to the world. It's not the people bringing it to the world. You know what I mean? Like, you know, somebody who works at Walmart has designed AI and stuff like.
I think you're giving him too much credit, Lef. I think you're giving him too much credit, like, because we know Elon himself is a retard. He doesn't actually make anything ever. He's never made
even if it's just the face for it, you know what I mean? It's still representing.
If we removed him out the picture
is.
of history, let's say he never existed, we would still came to AI anyway, because us humans want to do bigger and better things, and for us to accomplish bigger and better things, we have to create something. We have to create something to take care of our mundane task, like analytics, trash compacting, even small voltage, low voltage work. All these things should and can be done with AI technology. So I propose we would have that because it's part of our physical and spiritual growth, alongside of growing with God, and that they're trying to spin that into a scary thing, so that way they maintain control of it.
Now, if that were the case, that we're using it for the benefit of mankind, right, then it would be quite a long process of a lot of this technology coming out of being useful, but not having the AI implement of it. You know, I mean, you can make machines which are going to be useful for people and stuff like, but to have it all to be incorporated into this beast system, which it is, you know what I mean?
To be a beast. Remember, it's just a tool.
Well, what is the beast system though? Because if the AI is connected to that,
well, we get to decide what that is, though. That's what I've learned about.
No.
Like there's no dictionary term for, well, this is the beast system. No, everybody has their own.
If we go back 10 years, right, before AI, right, what was the beast system then? Because it's the system that we're in, the money and all of it, everything, all that kind of thing. Like.
It's an interpretation, because you can make this system work for you too, and that's what they're not.
If that same system is making it, then that's a serious problem.
I know,
because those people are not invested in our.
They're stealing it. They're not making.
What have they ever done for the people?
Exactly. And
They're
so I
suffocating for
wouldn't give
people
I
right
wouldn't give
now.
them credit for AI. I wouldn't give them credit for AI. They can't
Well,
get
I
credit for
mean,
it. They can't create anything. They're thieves.
like, look how they're designing it though, because it's like it's massively invested into creating this full automated machine. It's like they want to be able to incarnate into this world
Let
by
them.
using these machines.
Let
Let
them.
them,
That
because
let them
they are not
because
of this world, and they do not have good intentions for us. Like you have seen through us politicians
maybe,
who are
but
puppets of
guess
those
what
same
though?
people.
We got good intentions for us, and we can
We
use
have.
AI
I
also for those intentions. And since we outnumber them, they only have the tool of fear. That's seriously seems like what they got because they can't arm wrestle out anybody. They can't actually outsmart anybody. They got to steal, lie, and deceive. That's their tools. They can't create anything, so they adapt and try to overcome. AI was never their invention. They're not smart enough to do it. They're barely smart enough to put on their own pants in the morning. And they're spending so
AI
much time
is
trying
not
to.
from this realm. It's not from this realm.
Yeah, of course,
It's
well, of
unnatural.
course.
This is the nature realm, so this is like where everything should be natural. If we got rid of AI and actually worked with nature, we would find so much more
I,
benefits.
I disagree. I
Um,
think God set up this automated system ahead of time, and we're just now catching up to God's glory of this highly sophisticated
that's
technological system. We're
that's the
realizing
machine god, though.
that no, it's not.
That,
It's a superimposed one. It's a God that it's the eternal one. It's the infinite one. It's the one without
it's
boundaries. And right now we're going through a phase where we're going to utilize AI so we can stop the mundane task. Because without AI, there's no way to do it, Lev. There's no. You let me know. There's another way of doing a main mundane everyday bullshit job task without AI. There isn't. There isn't one.
we shouldn't be working in
Unless,
that kind of that kind of environment anyway.
but we
That's like
don't
being
have
a
a
part of
choice.
the cog of a system, in it. But
No,
as
no, no.
people are
I
waking up,
disagree.
we're coming to a realization that we can turn away from that system. And
No,
as the
no, no.
sooner we do, like I say, it's like the money that goes round from all the work
No, I'm not
that
gonna throw
everybody
away
does
the
in one
system
day.
that we built just because some people are giving credit to the evil people who didn't actually build anything. And I think that's what you're missing. That I'm really putting out. The good people built this system, and then the trickery people, the tricksters, are tricking the people who built this system. Like, oh, y'all didn't build this. We built this, and now
No,
it's a beast
no,
system, and
look,
it's for
because
evil. Ooh, no, it's not. They didn't do anything. They stole everything we created: money, technology, cars, planes, and then they put borders on stuff.
right. You like look at Roman Empire and the Vatican. You know, I mean, how long that's been in place of how they've tried to rule us through these governments to control the mind. You know what I mean?
Sure.
They're not for us, man. It's always been like that. They're trying to ruin everything about spirituality and as existence and stuff like. And the more that we fall into that, and like I said, like they will promote this AI and make it look awesome. They will make it so user friendly and functional for your lives and all that kind of stuff. Like, but as we go in future with this, as it's been shown, like even for your iPhone, it's not for you, is it? It's for them, so they can like study you. That's what they're doing. They're studying
Well,
us
I mean,
like
if,
no one
if
else,
they don't,
right?
if they don't, to play devil's advocate, of course, if they don't study us, we can't adapt. We can't grow with technology. If they don't release those things, yes, they can be used for evil. It's all scary. Everything can be made to spin scary. That's what they're good
It's
at, and that's what I'm
it's the
calling their
people
bluff
that
on.
are doing it though.
Yeah, but there's too many. That's why just supposedly they want to depopulate it. There's too many of us. The numbers are too
See,
much. And if we don't have progressive technological growth, we're going to become stagnant. Then we're going to have to dig with shovels forever. And I don't think humans should be using shovels forever. If you want to,
it's
that's good.
technology
Great
which
work.
makes people stagnant.
No, it's not. Technology is going to be the only
It's,
thing that's going to allow us to proceed.
it
It's
makes
the only
people
thing.
lazy.
It makes some people lazy, but you got to remember the people building the technology are literally working. That thing, they're not. The technology is never going to build itself unless we
It's like
program it to do so, and that takes conscious, intelligent work, and that takes progressive growth on technologies. And it has to be progressive. It is scary. The future is scary and it's uncertain. But I don't. I think it's more dangerous to stay still and stagnant based on what ifs than it is to go and then handle across those bridges if they even come around. And at this point, I have so little faith in the evil powers that be, because they're doing such a crappy job of taking anything over that they got to go behind our backs with super stealthy planes and laser beams. And they got to be sneaky. They got to play out the darkness. They'll never live in the light. They'll never live in the light, ever. They have to be sneaky. They have to be underhanded. And that's why they're weak. And that's why they want to scare us away from AI, so most of us won't even mess with it. That way they'll always have a monopoly on it, because it's from the get-go. It was made so scary, I can't mess with it. It's Satan. It's the beast system. Fear. Again, they use fear to take away all our cool toys. That way they get all the cool toys. And then, and then we wonder, like, oh, when aliens get here, no wonder they're going to confuse everybody, because they're actually going to think that we don't have the ability to make objects fly with by using different propulsion systems than the familiar combustion engine ones. So they've already laid out a certain storyline that they could start, tomorrow, and it would fool most people because they're scared, just simply scared. Don't know shit about shit, but they're scared. The AI is evil, and the government can't trust them. They that's their tactics. They make us uncertain. They make us scared. That way, we just stop. Then we become stagnant. Only then do we become stagnant, because if we don't push ourselves forward, then I don't know what else we're gonna do.
What about if you try astral projection for yourself?
I did. I didn't like it. I don't.
You didn't like it?
No, I like this. God blessed us with these bodies for a reason. I like being in my body when I'm awake. I astral project when my ass is asleep at nighttime, and that's plenty of astral projection for me. I'll be having some adventures when I'm asleep.
Tell me about your astral projection experience.
Right, that's what I'm saying. And I think, and I agree with that. And I say we can adapt the things around us, including AI. And my experience, like, I've been learning about it. I've been learning its prompts down to its coding. I'm able to do some cool things. There's nothing scary about it. It's just language. It's literally just a language. It's all it is, a computer language. It can't think by itself. It can only do what we tell it to do every single time. We're not gods. We will not be bestowing any consciousness in any AI. So let's just get that out of your head now, people. And anybody worried about Terminators and all this stuff, unless it's programmed that way, there's nothing to worry about. Not to say it can't be programmed that way. There's obviously messed up people in the world, but I can't worry about them. We can't be stuck there worrying about what the evil people might do next. What about what the good people might do next? That's what I want to know. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm a good person, and I'm worried about making some awesome storytelling content utilizing AI, because it's hard to get the type of physical, real person help to do the things I want to do in a timely manner, because people have lives. They have things that they're doing themselves. So I can't hold them up to come over with me and film something or say a line. So AI is literally doing the mundane task and subcontracting it out, as it were, to a human created tool. It will never take over anything. That is, I believe, if anything, God's put these protocols in place to protect ourselves from ourselves. That this conscious divine mind that we're living in already set the parameters for our safety. But it had to be scary for you to take things seriously here. But then in that potential harm and confusion lies in the real you. And the opportunity to prove yourself with courage and intellect and discernment. And AI is just the latest opportunity for us to do that. And for a lot of us that are still scared as potential, this is an opportunity to dig in deep and see why. Yeah, those potential fears are there, but what about all the good stuff? And which one do we rather focus on? Because that's what's going to manifest after we make that decision. If we focus on the negative, damn sure that is what you're going to experience. I have no doubt about it. But the alternative is true too. If we focus on the positivity and the things that we can benefit from it, then the universe will have no choice but to give us that experience instead. Yeah, maybe, possibly. I don't know.
It'll be too late for us. It'll be too late. Once that trap's set, it'll spring. You know what I mean? We spent a long time building this trap. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't have faith in them. So I don't have faith in them. I don't think they can string it.
That's what the AI is. You've already fallen for trap.
No, or I found the hidden key, or I found it's either a trap, which I don't feel like it is. I don't feel like I'm being trapped. I feel like I'm being blessed with an opportunity for deeper understanding of the latest technological advancement that we have access to. We are in the beginning stages of it, to be fair. And I'm vastly excited for what AI is going to have the potential to do for us in the coming 10, 20 years. Because we deserve to live a better life. I don't care about smart cities. I don't care what the politician's doing. I don't give a damn about no damn election. I don't care about this scary thing and that scary rumors over here. Nope. This soul doesn't have time to put energy on the fearful tactics that are being placed in front of us strategically, intentionally, to keep
Who's
us
putting fear tactics
sedated.
on AI?
Everybody, I mean, anybody who chooses to look at it through a scary lens, I suppose, as
The
opposed to
people.
somebody. No, not people. I mean, anybody. Don't have to be people. I guess it could be
Anybody.
aliens too. I don't know. Anybody, or
Like
again, it's a choice. It's a choice.
corporations.
That's all. It's a choice.
All these big
Yep.
companies and stuff, like, are they putting fear propaganda? Because they're the
No,
ones that are kind of making it.
I've
They're
never
all
heard them
involved
put
in it
fear.
together.
I've never heard a company come out saying, "Oh, by the end of 2030, we'll have the north half of North America taken over with completely AI." And I've never heard that. Never heard that spiel. Only through conspiracy theories. I love conspiracy theories. Love them. They're excellent. Love to toy around with them, to share them, to trade them back and forth like baseball cards. But I have to put my my energy where the facts are, and I have yet to see any more harm than good. And I refuse to focus on the things I can't control. I can control the good parts of what I'm able to influence with AI. Therefore, go forward creating things with AI and things I wouldn't be able to do without it, because that's why it's here. And I want to know about it. So in 5 years, I can break it down to somebody else who might be scared. Be like, oh, they're going to use it for this. Yeah, but, as a developer, as an editor, as a AI technician, they can't because of this, and that reason. There's laws, there's limits, there's workarounds, and with computer, there's always a workaround. Always a back door. There's there's always a shut off switch. That's just the way the digital world works. And the good guys know this, and the bad guys know that. And this yin yang in the digital realm is just as potent as over here in the physical realm. So let's go forward focusing on the good. It's a choice that we will make. It is a choice for us as individuals and what we're going to experience. And I hope you will experience the good parts of AI with me, Lev. Together, we'll be in the virtual metaverse.
I'm not going in it. I'm not going
You're
nowhere
not
near
going in
it.
it. You got to meet me at the Shaolin Temple and Zuckerberg's metaverse, so we can fight him there like Morpheus and Neo. It'd be awesome.
Zuckerberg's metaverse. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I mean, you can have one too. It's not like but you do realize you get to make one too. It's not just him. He does have one, but he doesn't own all of the metaverse. He has a metaverse. There's a
he's an enemy. He's a true enemy.
Look, anytime Zuckerberg want to throw down, we can do it. I'm going to see him fight Elon Musk first, though. So, yeah, if he can't take on Elon, he definitely can't take on me. So, especially in the digital world. Get all the fun. I'm telling you, it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. Big things are ahead. There's nothing to be scared of, man. Nothing to be scared of. Everything that triggers us fearful is just something that the universe is trying to teach us about ourselves. So that way we can overcome, adapt, and conquer whatever peril was seemingly in our way. Because we are the golden ones. We are the chosen ones. We're the enlightened ones. We're the ones that have inspired ourselves to be better. And that's a quite achievement, I think. And I feel very blessed, again, for another week of having so many awesome people come in and view us and comment on here. And thank you again, Lev, for joining me today and having some bantering back and forth. I love these conversations, and I love that you don't take anything I say personally. Appreciate you, bro.
No, it's kind of like it's a growth thing. I'm kind of like gaining your perspective at the same time and stuff like that kind of thing. So no, I don't take it personally at all and stuff like that kind of thing. Like it's good banter, you know what I mean, in that kind of sense. I am serious about it though. It's like I hope that I mean, it's an horrible outcome from what my perspective of it is and stuff, that kind of thing. Like, you know, like the less attention we give it, the better, because these big companies are going to roll it out anyway. You know what I mean, and stuff like, I can't stop that. You know what I mean, and stuff like. But in terms of people connecting to nature, learn to astral project and see what that kind of side of reality is like before you go into that, because then you'll know whether to invest in it or not. If your astral experience tells you that you should stay away from it, then there's that. You know what I mean? Because, you know, listening to me is one thing, but, you know.
I don't know. I have faith that you'll overcome your metaverse fears and you'll come with me in there to face Zuckerberg and his evil company of Facebook fact checkers, and we'll fight them in a digital boxing ring. It'll be glorious. It'll be fun. We'll take it over. We have the numbers and we have the energy and we have God on our side. I love you all. Thanks so much for joining me here on another FMX radio show where I give you my expressive opinions and hang out with y'all and talk some noise. I wanted to read this comment my boy Nick put on here. I would have thought 2 years ago, based on the hype of the metaverse, that people would have walked around with digital goggles on their faces, but I feel like it's actually gone backwards. I actually have to kind of agree with you. I was hoping by now we would be a little bit deeper down the rabbit hole, but a little guess of a backstory. I don't think the powers that be get along as much as a lot of us think they do. There's probably more infighting going on behind the scenes than we're privy to on the outside. So with that being said, that goes with their technology and their companies and who gets to claim what item on what ever's being released and how far it gets to go, which is probably a big reason why we don't have
lenses. But for goggles, but replace them with contact lenses now, and they're like quite high tech and stuff. Like I watched them a few months ago.
I've seen the contacts. I think the best ones would probably be just the regular bifocal ones that they project the light onto with a camera on the inside. Because I'm like, I don't want to put contacts on every day just to go in a metaverse. That's too much work. Just give me some glasses. I just put on the glasses.
It's beyond normal. It's like, you know, the amount of level that they're going to it. It's gonna like the eye literally taking over your senses with everything. And it's in that same sense that they can build a machine to have that without you in there. So then it can have another entity occupy it. You know what I mean? From a different realm or dimension or whatever you want to call it and stuff like that. But, you know, it's quite intimidating. You know what I mean? Like what we've got now is just programs, so you can play around with them and it's fairly safe and all that kind of stuff. Like the downside is they are studying us at the same time. Like you use Facebook, then they're studying everything about you, your family, everything. You know what I mean? You've got an iPhone, they're studying you. You know what I mean? So there's so many ways that they're studying us and stuff, that kind of thing. Like, but we need to
why will being studying secretly from the shadows? I say you look at him right in the eye and say, I know you're watching me. And we're not scared. We're not letting fear run our lives any longer. Matter of fact, we're taking back our power here on the FMX Woden's Day. Over here talking about immortals and our place here in this eternal realm and what God thinks about us, what we think about God, where it might be. And is this water alive, or is it conscious, or is it us? Is it that? Is it the third? And I appreciate all of you from the bottom of my heart. Thanks again, JJ, for all the gifts you passed out. And thanks everybody here for being with me and taking those monthly subscriptions from. I really appreciate it. All the Etsy people and people going to the GoFundMe from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate getting things done in the back door. I can't wait to show you what's coming down the line. And next Monday, Freeman Fly from freemantv.com will be on FMX Radio. We're going to be talking about some deep, deep stuff. This man's a wealth of knowledge. And if you haven't heard of him before, you're in for quite a treat. I hope everybody has a blessed rest of the week. I can't wait to see you again. Anything you got going on? I know you said you were releasing some videos, Lev. You almost done with those?
Yeah, I finished 14 today, the 14th one, so I'm going to put 4 of them up tomorrow, which is the last 4. The rest of them are all already up and stuff like. So I've got another one just to tie it off or whatever and stuff like that. Extra bits, not important. So it's like, you know, them 4 can go out and stuff like that kind of thing.
Excellent.
Like
Excellent.
I said, I'll do that tomorrow evening.
Excellent. All right, man. Good to hear. Got that to look forward to. Everybody else, I love you. Stay speaking good about yourself. Think good thoughts. Don't let those intrusive thoughts in too much. And just know that you're here for a reason, man. Thank you. Have a great night. Peace.
Excellent. Cheers, Chris.
You're a man looking at the world through a keyhole. Have you spent your whole life trying to widen that keyhole, to see more, to know more? And now, on hearing that it can be widened in ways you can't imagine, you reject the possibility. Have you seen that before in a gift shop?
Teach me.
No.
Yet in holding scientific research and discovery in respect, as we should, we must also be alert to the equal and opposite danger that public policy could itself become the captive of a scientific, technological elite.
We choose to go to the moon.
I'm talking to you by telephone from the Oval Room at the White House.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's a great honor and privilege for us to be here.
First question I was wondering, when are we going back to the moon?
It's taken us many years to open this door to useful cooperation in space between our two countries. And may I say, in signing off, here's to a soft landing.
All of them spin-offs of space technology. That's why Jimmy Carter from Georgia
and Gerald Ford from California agree.
Space technology has down-to-earth benefits for everyone.
America is going to space again, and we're going there to stay.
And next, for the new century, back to the moon, back to the future, and this time, back to stay.
That's a great dream. But that and our other dreams are clearly the natural extensions of the space program which began a generation ago.
Is to return to the moon by 2020 as the launching point for missions beyond. Beginning no later than 2008, using the Crew Exploration Vehicle, we will undertake extended human missions to the moon as early as 2015.
By the mid-2030s, I believe we can send humans to orbit Mars and return them safely to Earth. And a landing on Mars will follow. And I expect to be around to see it.